Okay, Kim here from Traders Club. Today is June 15th, Saturday. Well, because I always wake up early on, Monday through Friday because market opens early here, and so it's like I did wanted to sleep in today because it's Saturday. I just couldn't. I woke up at 6:30 in the morning, and ever since then I was just on at the my desk and looking at charts and things and whatnot. And it's Saturday. I shouldn't be doing this, right? Well. I guess that's the life of a trader. Anyhow, well, I'm gonna look at. I just wanted to look at a couple charts here with you guys and just kind of give you guys a little thought of what we can expect this coming week here. Well, first of all, we're looking at Spider here on a daily chart. As you can see, there we'll continue finding some support at 50 MA, which is that pink dotted line here, and you can see that we found some support there, and we found some support here. We're finding support, and you can see that on Thursday, bulls furiously really protected level, and what would happen was though on Friday we had probably about had about 50% of take back those gains there. I don't know if that's 50%, but very close to that. So obviously there's some kind of selling pressure coming in at these levels, and I've been kind of tweeting that this is a level that we got to continue to watch. I really think that if we can close above this level, that would constitute of these higher lows continue to establish here. Obviously there's a risk that there might be some kind of double top happening here, so that it could get up somewhere here about 167 or about maybe even 169. But after, if we can able to get up to about 165 level, then what it does is that it kind of breaks this, it confirms this double bottom ish sentiment here. I don't want to call it a double bottom reversal just because it's happening after a pullback. Double bottom that happens after a bearish run, that would be a reversal. Like if it happens, I don't know, I don't have an example here, but if it comes down and then we form a double bottom, there will be a reversal of a trend. But I would have to say that we're still in an uptrend here on daily chart, and this was merely a pullback. And so I guess you can call it maybe this, if we kind of call this a minor bearish trend, and this is a minor double bottom. Actually, that would be the better term there. So we have this possible minor bearish double bottom happening here again. If we can break above this level of 165.50-ish level, and if we can close above that, we would have to say that, well, we have that early signal of this double bottom, a minor bearish trend double bottom reversal pattern there. And so if that happens, I would have to say that, well, the trend is this is what constitutes a trend or established trend. Is it continues to make higher lows and higher highs. I can see the higher lows and the higher highs, as you can see that. And the thing about it is, the reason why that is a definition of an uptrend is because once it comes down, this is higher high, when it comes down from the high and then creates the higher low, because it didn't come all the way down to the lower or the lows, and then it kind of stopped in the middle of it, and then created the lower or higher low, and then when it thrusts from that level, it breaks the recent highs, and that's the fashion here. Comes down, create the lower low or higher low, sorry, and then it goes to make higher high, it breaks the recent high, and that's been the trend, that's been the fashion. Comes the higher low, goes up, it breaks the higher high there. So if we start to bounce from this vicinity here, we have to assume that that's what it could do, is that because we've been making these higher lows and higher highs. So when we came down here and we break above this from this level, we have to assume that this has a high probability. It doesn't have to. We can have some kind of double bottom or triple top, or even we can have some kind of head and shoulders here. But regardless, for the time being, with the data that is given to us, we have to assume that this is going to continue and then create another higher high and breaks the prior highs, because that has been the fashion, that has been the trend. And Some people think that, well, because we've been pounding on it, about 2 times, so there's more likely this thing is going to fail. Well, that analogy does not work, because if you use the analogy here, back here in the support level, which I was actually pretty bearish at this level because we had a more bearish sentiment at that time, with the bearish divergences and with the Russell 2000 forming, head and shoulders. Same with I think with the transport, not really confirming with Dow Jones and other indications that we had. But what happened was, well, we formed, these supports here, and we've been pounding on about 3 times continue. Basically, the thing I was arguing was we stopped making higher lows. We started creating these eco lows, and so that was the initial kind of a sentiment that the trend might be slowing down, at least moving sideways. But then what happened was we found support there on 50 MA, and this thing continued, rock higher. So, just because we've been hitting these 50s here, just because doesn't mean that this uptrend is starting to get more weaker. Just because you hit it more times doesn't mean that it's gonna. I think that opposite is true. The more it hits it, the longer it holds, and then if it starts to bounce, the stronger it's really going to become. Because as you can see that this uptrend here, uptrend support here, as you can see that the more times it hit, the more times it becomes support, how strong it became down here. You can see that how well it you know what I mean. Just looking at this about 1 year, or ever since November to June or July today, or June today. And you can see that how well every time it hits that level, bulls to come and protect the level. So I think, in my opinion, I mean, it's not always true, but in this case though, the more time it hit it, the more times it's starting to become more stronger. I really thought this was a very, very surprise move, what we saw here on Thursday. I really thought we was going to break it down, or we could have a maybe minor pullback or something. I thought maybe we're going to see something, whatever we saw on Friday. I thought we are going to see that in bullish side. We're going to have a minor, just small spinning top bearish candle, maybe form a bear flag or some sort, and then continue to maybe about 100 SMA here, or at least come down, maybe retest this level, and then ultimately, it could do this. And I was really thinking we were going to do something of that sort, and maybe we're forming this head and shoulders level here. But when that was protected yet again, I'm starting to change a little bit on my stance and see where it's going to go. I really have to watch. So here's the levels that you're going to watch. Is that, well, basically we have to close about 165 or so, 165, 50, 70 level for bullish. For bearish, obviously we would have to close below this wick there, because if you look at intraday, I do believe that there's some support there. Actually, let's look at that. Let's look at 30-minute chart. Just look at that intraday here, so this is the low there. You can see that. So that has been acting as a very strong support there. Actually, this kind of put up the whole move there. And looking at the week 30-minute chart, it looks like we're forming some kind of symmetrical triangle. The thing about symmetrical triangles, nobody knows which way it's going to break down. It could break down to the upside. It can break up to the upside, or it can break down to the downside. And so when it does break in downside, we would have to watch this level right here, about 160 level. That was a wick that we just looked at on the daily chart. That if that level is going to hold or not. But once I think it starts to break, if it starts finding momentum to the downside, start breaking 50 MA, I would have to say that there's high probability we're gonna come back down here, and we start creating these lows like this, and we put in another low. That is a huge signal of a possible bearish correcting move, just because, like I said, we stopped making higher highs, and then we started putting in these eco lows. We already putting a lot of lows here, and then it comes back down and put eco lows, and we can probably find some bounce from there. And if that happens, we would have to say that we have some kind of head and shoulder formation or something, and then there's a reversal and some kind of corrective move that could come from this level. But still early to say that's what's going to happen. But those are the two scenarios that we probably need to watch out for. So in looking at the weekly chart, here's one thing that I've been talking about on my article recently that I published is that, well, one of the thing about corrective move, one of the early signal is that, well, once it starts to close below 10 EMA, that blue right here, this is a 10 EMA, that was an early indication that we're going to have a corrective move at least for 3 weeks or so before bouncing here. And we haven't able to break below this 10 EMA ever since we rallied up back in the first of the year. And you can see that 10 EMA held 10 EMA, 10 EMA, 10 EMA, 10 EMA, and you can see those wicks. Those wicks really tell us a lot of story on this weekly chart. Is that, well, those wicks do tell us that bulls are protecting that weekly 10 EMA, which coinciding with daily 50 EMA, and so that 10 EMA is to be watched. And we start breaking below that level, then that's when you can expect some kind of a corrective move here. But here's the one thing that I'm wondering about looking at this weekly chart. So, well, first of all, this kind of could be looked as some kind of a, I don't know, it could be some kind of a bull flag there, but I wouldn't put much weight on it because what it looked like a bull flag back here didn't work, and this looked like a bull stair step continuation didn't work there. So I'm not going to look too much on that. I'm not going to put too much weight on that. But what I wanted to put a weight on, because if we are looking for like a steeper correctional move, not just just couple weeks here, couple weeks there, but we're looking for some kind of a mini crash, or this thing is gonna come down to 136 or at least to about 148 or so. That could happen. That can happen, but upon studying the Spider weekly chart here, as you can see that when you have a steep correctional move, it usually get that topping pattern. What I mean by topping patterns, we get at least some kind of a triple top. This is a weekly chart, just wanted to remind you, triple top or some kind of a head and shoulder formation. Then we have pretty steep the correctional move. But if we just kind of grinds a little bit to the sideways and then up and down movement and then comes down, usually about 2-3 weeks. So just about, looking at a weekly chart, so just a little bit about like a pullback in a sense when we're looking at the weekly chart itself. And when we do have a steeper corrective move, we came very fast. First week, bang, bearish diver or bearish, what is that? Bearish tweezer top, or it could be kind of a bearish engulfing, and then next week, bam, it just came down, and then we had a steeper correction. But we didn't just come down; we were holding. So it's more. It's kind of like you're just moving sideways, really. If you wanna, just because it's been holding up so far. It didn't just straight up come down like this. And even right here, back here, we had a 1 week bearish, and then it just came down, and then boom, 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 right? So, just looking at back even 2007, as you can see that after this huge uptrend, we can really learn from past behavior, because you know what I mean, that could be the personality that Spider has. And you can see that we did have these pullbacks, but it always kind of found support in this weekly 50 EMA, and rally continued. So I guess it's depending on what kind of pullback are we looking for. I mean, 50 EMA is back here. We are pretty far from 50 EMA, so it could come down to 50 EMA, start to grind, and then come down to 50 EMA. But it doesn't mean, I don't think that means that a market is going to have a crash. Unless we start closing below 50 EMA. Not only that, we will need to see some topping pattern on the weekly, not daily, on the weekly. First of all, we had a topping pattern here, steep correction. You're looking for some steep correction on the market, you would have to look for some topping pattern. I don't think it's just gonna come straight down from here. So head and shoulders back here, broke the neckline, broke below 50 EMA, bam, that's what we did here. And after this huge bullish upwards movement, well, what happened was we kept going higher. We kept finding support on this 50 EMA because after this huge bullish uptrend that we had. But when did it really broke down? Well, topping pattern. We had topping pattern. What I mean by topping patterns, went up, down, went up, and then we started putting this double top at the top here. So that was the initial topping pattern here, and then we started putting what? We stopped putting higher highs and higher lows. Okay, what we did was we started putting equal lows over here. Okay, and then we put in first lower high, and then what happened was in a bigger scale, well, with a double heads and shoulders pattern here. Okay, you can put this as shoulder there, shoulder level, left shoulder, right shoulder, double heads. That was initial topping pattern of a double top there, and then in a bigger scale that was a head and shoulders topping pattern there. And then we kept making what? Lower highs, lower lows on this weekly chart. You start seeing that, and then we start closing below 50 MA on this weekly chart. That's when if I see that happening here at the top, I'll write an article that market crash is coming. At least steep, deep, correctional move. Very, very dangerous sign. But when we're here at the top like this, man, I don't know if I want to go all out and start just being really, really fearful of the market. You know what I mean? I just gotta give benefit of the doubt that this rally would continue. And you guys remember that I was pretty bearish up here. You know why? Because I thought this is what we're having a topping pattern here, because at this level on this weekly chart we had a lot of bearish sentiment, like bearish divergences are happening, and we have a huge weekly head and shoulders happening on Qs. So we had all kinds of bearish formation that was forming, though it wasn't confirmed. So I was pretty bearish at this point, but once we kind of got out of that, this very almost we could have a trouble, early indication of trouble. When we got out of that, this thing rallied higher, and so now we're back into kind of a safe zone, if you will. And as long as this 50 EMA is intact, I would have to assume that trend is going to continue. And I think at this point there may be a correction is quote unquote due, which I don't like to use because there's nothing due for anything. And so but I don't think it's a bad thing to have a correction. Maybe even to back down to 50 on weekly chart. How about that? Go down to 50 on a weekly chart, come down to about 150 level, and then maybe market can continue. Or if it's maybe we're gonna have a topping pattern. If this is a top, maybe we'll come down, go up, maybe we'll have a double top and then come back up here, and then we'll have a topping pattern. Again, it's not gonna just come straight down from this level. I really think that topping pattern is what we're going to start to look for. Even when we go to about 2000 here, year 2000, you can see that we would have these pretty steep declines. The market will continue to go higher. Market will continue to go higher. As you can see that even we close below 50 MA, we will find support 100 SMA on this. This is a weekly chart, guys. We're looking at such a huge time frame. The reason I do this because then you have kind of a broad sense of the market, not just looking at just now this is a daily chart, but if you look at weekly, you can have a broad sense that, well, where's the market is going, a big broad sense. Where's a tide moving, the big current, the big stream? Well, big stream is still moving upwards and upwards, and big key point was that the 50 MA breaking below 50 MA was a point, but we have a 50 MA there. So as far as the market crash is concerned, we probably don't have to worry about that for now, because we don't have any signal of such. But looking at a daily chart again, I would end with this here, and let me just emphasize that one more time that, well, these are the levels that we're going to be watching here, and that we start breaking below those levels, that's when we'll see that some corrective move coming to the downside, or with this that could continue higher. So hopefully this has been somewhat helpful to you guys, and we'll see what has been stored this week. And I guess we'll watch and see if bears can push this thing down a little bit more on Monday, just coming down here, or is this gonna be kind of a one-day consolidation and then a thrust? Nobody really truly knows at this point. Whatever the price is telling us currently, is that, well, it's the 50 MA has been held, that kind of bounced there, and then on Friday the move was a little bit weak, So I mean, could this be some kind of a bull flag here, or is this gonna be turned out to be another bearish kind of thing? Because back here that was pretty weak move, but then bears really able to just push this thing down. So that move can be move like that, and then just gaps down, and then this thing just tanks. Or it could just be that this minor bearish trend of double bottom reversal, and then once we break a neckline of this level here, which could thrust to another high. So until that I get more data next week, I wouldn't know that for sure. So I mean, it's best to just kind of stay away if you're not completely not able to deal with this volatility market until further resolution and confirmation. But until then, I think we're probably gonna see more maybe some volatility coming here. What we can also do is we can just continue to grind here, or even just even if I just draw something like that, you could just do something like this, and then either breaks out this. Nobody knows, but I don't know if we're gonna have some kind of grind. I really think that we're gonna have a resolution pretty quickly. They're coming downside or to the upside, but it's just anyone's guess. So let's wait until the price tells otherwise, and then I'll try to make maybe I'll give an update next week. I think I am doing, if you go to my blog, I am doing free event next week, I believe. Let's look at that here. Yes, June 19th is next Wednesday. So next Wednesday, I am doing a free event there. Just go to my blog here, 2tradersclub.com. That's number 2, tradersclub.com. Just click on the live midweek update, and you can go to this week update there, and it's gonna be right after market close on Wednesday next week, and you can click on here and register. It's completely free. I'm just gonna go with, and I'm just gonna give you guys a live update of what the market is doing and whatnot, and then maybe just a few stocks that I'm watching that I'm involved in, just kind of give you a little heads up on those, and just kind of give you thoughts of what I think could be happening. I think next 3 days, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, plenty of time to, I think, figure it out where the market will go. So if you really want to kind of find out what my thought will be next Wednesday, please do come. It's a free event. I do it on a monthly basis. It's completely free, and you can ask me questions, and you will be able to see my chart live and everything. So hopefully that will be somewhat helpful to you. So we'll have a great weekend. Today's Saturday, so we have plenty of time. Saturday throughout the day, and tomorrow Sunday. Enjoy your days and enjoy your summer days, and then we'll come back on Monday and we'll trade the market.